Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's too low. Restocked on one. What's your name? Hi, Julia. Last optional. Yeah, right.
No, this one you need to keep the mask on. Yeah, yeah. I wish I had other options for you, but the class before this was a mask optional. Ah, okay, okay. All right, everybody. Welcome back. Those of you that are already here. So, what do we want to work on today? Any requests? Are we feeling any type of way? No? All right. So I have been focusing a lot on grounding the last couple of weeks. I've had a kind of stressful couple of weeks. So for me, I've been finding that grounding has been really helpful for me physically to kind of release some tension and mentally to kind of separate from all that stress. So I'm going to focus on that today, if no other requests. And we're going to start off in crocodile pose. So crocodile pose, we're just laying flat on our stomach and you're going to stack your hands one on top of the other and let that be a support underneath your forehead. So we're using our hands to kind of release some pressure from our forehead and kind of release our whole weight of our body into our hips. So those of you that may be joining us on Zoom, if you can grab 2 blankets and a bolster for class today. We're missing Monique, sadly. All right, so we're here. So now take a few moments to kind of really settle in here. So with every breath out, let the weight of your hips, the weight of your head sink into the support of the mat. And come around and help relax the lower back. So we're just sinking the weight of our body heavy here. Letting all the pressures of the week just kind of melt into this space. Let it all just kind of fall away from our physical body and detach from it. We're already here coming to take some time for ourselves, for our bodies. So give yourself that last little bit of permission to kind of just let go of all the other pressures that you have in your life right now. This next hour, you can't really do anything about it. You're here. So you might as well fully commit to being here. So you can leave feeling rejuvenated, refreshed, and take a little load off. Start adding some extra breath. Start to feel your belly press up into the mat, the back of your ribs starting to inflate a little bit more. Maybe tap into your Ujjayi breath. Ujjayi breath is breathing in and out of your nose. And as you exhale, you make a little bit of noise. So just a soft sound to kind of remind you to pay attention to your breath. Take 5 more big breaths here. Bend your knees and start shaking out your lower back by windshield wipering your knees from side to side. So kind of how like I was wiggling all your lower backs just now. This is a little bit of a self-service option. Release your legs back down. And now extend your arms out into a T and roll over onto your right side. So take your left foot to the ground. Maybe both feet can turn up. Or reach your hand a little bit further away from your body. Those of you that were in my last class, this is round 2 for you. So inch your hand a little bit further away. Take one more big breath in. Slowly roll back to center. Turn your left cheek down to the mat and roll over onto the left side. Come back through center. We're gonna go back to each side, but now we're gonna bend our elbows into goalpost arms. And then the elbow is now reaching away from our body as we roll over onto our side. Once more, right side. So maybe your foot doesn't go all the way around as it did before. Maybe it's just like the toe is floating on the floor. Tapping into the pecs. And also make sure that your hand is stacked right over your elbow. So bring this hand a little bit further away. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Yeah, there it is. Take one more big breath into that space. Exhale, roll back through center. Other side. So there is a tendency when we roll over, especially with the goalpost arms, that the elbows like creep back in. So encourage them to keep moving away from your body. Wrist is stacked right over that elbow. 90-degree angles. Keep focusing your attention on your breath and how your breath starts to change with certain postures. That can be a nice insight into where the body is holding on to extra tension and maybe somewhere to focus your practice today. Roll back through center. Child's pose. Send your hips back. Open up your knees with your big toes to touch. So spread your knees out wide enough so your whole chest can drop through. Maybe your heart drops through. Forehead comes down. And if anyone would prefer not to be physically assisted today or touched, if you could just raise your hand right now so I know. All right. Welcome. If you can grab 2 blankets and a bolster for class. Everyone, inch your fingers a little bit closer to the front of your mat so you can push your hands into the mat and push your butt back closer to your hips, closer to your ankles. Hips to ankles. There we go. Spread your fingertips also to both corners of the mat. So there's a lot of space for the shoulders. The side of the neck has not disappeared into our backs. And then send your arms over to the right side, but keep your hips right where they were. If you start feeling like your hip is kind of popping up, bring your hands closer back to your body. Your left hand can go on top of your right to go deeper. Walk your hands off to the left side. Right hand can now go on top of the left. Come back through center. Cat cow, come onto hands and knees. Spread your fingers out nice and wide, and then we're gonna roll the shoulders back and pull our heart forward. Cow pose. And then pushing around, cat pose. And give an extra push at the very top of your back. I like to sometimes like wiggle my hips a little just around that upper back point to get all up in there. And take 5 rounds. Your own breath is the guide. Inhaling, dropping the heart, and also pull the elbows in towards your sides a little bit so we can really push our chest forward through our arms and round, push the round away. So pull and push. And use your breath to get even deeper into those movements. And notice how the capacity of your breath changes when you pull the elbows in and expand your chest. And now add in some bear flow or some free flow movement, exploring the sides of your body. You can kind of take some like barrel rolls with your chest. I kind of tap into like Shakira halftime show 2020, like that kind of energy with the chest and the spine. Just kind of like move everything around and challenge all the range of motion that you have, just as a way to kind of inquire and figure out how the body's feeling. And again, just to figure out what to focus on today. All right, guys. So just take 2 more rounds of breath wherever you are, just to kind of fill up and expand. And then come back to a neutral spine. We're going to take puppy pose. So we're going to take our hips, stay right there, and just walk our hands forward and try to move your heart and chest towards the floor. If you can tuck your chin to the mat, we can be here. Or if that's not available, have your forehead down. You want to encourage the heart and the chest to squeeze through your arms. And if taking the hands a little bit wider is helpful here to encourage that deeper drop of the heart, try that on. We're here for 3 more breaths. And it's a little bit about surrendering into the pose here too, and kind of letting go of some of the control so the heart can drop heavy. And that little squeeze of the shoulder blades can also encourage that drop. Use your hands, walk yourself back up to your tabletop, and then lift your hips, downward facing dog. So find stillness here for a breath or two. And then open that movement up, bend into each knee. Again, we can tap into the Shakira vibes a little bit and just start like moving the hips from side to side, a little twist, a little turn, just anything at all. Like if the body is really craving to move in a certain way, just let it. You don't have to do what everyone else is doing. Your body is your own. You know exactly what circumstances you're working under. So try to tie that into what we're working on today. And child's pose is always available. If one pose doesn't serve your practice, I have no problem with you skipping it and taking something on your own. Just breathe. That's all I really want you to do here. On your next exhale, walk your hands all the way back to your feet, ragdoll. Generous bend to the knees to start. Let your head drop heavy. Let your head shake out, yes. Shake out, no. And then release your hands down. Take your left fingertips between your feet, bend into your right knee or left knee, open up your right arm to the ceiling. Big ragdoll twist. Exhale, switch sides. Right fingertips come down or your whole palm, whatever meets the mat. Left arm reaches. Exhale, switch it out. We're gonna go 2 more times to each side. Just one breath. Inhale to rise up. Exhale to bring the hand down. Next inhale takes the left arm up. Exhale down. One more round. Take it at your own pace. And now we're gonna roll all the way up to standing. Inhale all the way up. Interlace your palms, press your palms up to the ceiling, and then move your biceps out of your peripheral vision, but keep the core still pulled in. So we're not back bending here. We're keeping the tuck of our pelvis, everything neutral. And then from here, bend to the right. Inhale, back up, bend to the left. One more time, each side. Inhale through center. Exhale, a little bit deeper. Inhale, reach up. Little deeper bend on this side. Come back through center. Interlace your palms at your lower back. Press your palms together. Squeeze and puff up your chest. Fold forward, bending your knees, reaching your hands away from your lower back. And now try to bring your palms closer together before you lock out your elbows. So palms squeezing, and if that means the elbows need to stay bent, I would prefer that because that at least means that you have full availability of your chest to open up. Because once you lock out your arms, you lock out, you're locked in. You don't want to be locked in. You want to be soft. All the joints. Take one more big breath in. Exhale, release your hands down to the mat. Inhale, straighten your spine. So all the way, every single vertebra is parallel to the floor. Big breath in. Exhale, plant your hands down or walk yourself forward, high plank. Knees can come down since we are in restorative after all, but we can be here also for 3 breaths, knees up or down, to start hugging our abdominals in, get nice and warm. A strong core is a strong spine, which is essential for a strong, healthy nervous system. Take one more big breath in. Exhale, lower all the way down. And so you want to squeeze your elbows in towards your sides. So kind of like you're pulling them back towards your feet. Inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, lower. Press the tops of your feet into the mat. Inhale, 1 vertebrae higher. Exhale, lower. Sides of the neck are long. One more big lift. Exhale, lower. Child's pose. Tuck your belly in a little tighter to see if you can fold a little bit deeper at your hip crease. The more you activate your lowest abdominals, the more your lower back can take a break here. Downward facing dog. Look at your hands and walk your feet up there. Nice and easy. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, roll all the way up. Nice full stretch. Exhale, open up, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Step it back, high plank. And as you exhale, lower all the way down. Everything touches at the same time. Inhale, 3 cobras, lift. Exhale, lower. Back of the neck is long, lift. So that means your gaze is down. Exhale, lower, 1 more. Exhale, lower, child's pose. One big breath in, breath out, downward facing dog. Hollow out your armpits and engage your entire back. Take some of the pressure out of your wrists. Exhale, walk your feet up to your hands. Inhale, straight spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, roll all the way up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Step it back, high plank. Lower all the way down and just take one big cobra here. Roll the shoulders back. Exhale, lower, child's pose. We'll take one more round so we're nice and warm and we can cool down with ease. Lift your hips, downward facing dog. Exhale, walk your feet up to your hands. Inhale, straighten your spine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. And exhale, fold. Halfway lift. Step it back, high plank and lower. One big breath in to reach your chest up. Exhale, lower. Take a child's pose, but now bring your knees closer together and send your hands back towards your ankles. And if you're uncomfortable with your head not being able to reach the ground, you can insert a blanket or a bolster underneath your head, if that is a little easier. Breathe into the back of your ribs. Stretch out your back with your breath. If you want to open up your knees just a little bit more to keep spreading your shoulder blades wide, add that in after you feel a little bit more ease. Release your hands towards the front of the mat. And take a child's pose twist. So take your right arm, thread it underneath your left, and reach your left arm over your head. So we're just opening up, stretching out the top of the arm, the deltoid, and a little bit more through the shoulder blade on the right side. So keep reaching that bottom hand away from you and turn your palm down towards the floor. Yeah. So then you can keep inching your shoulders away. So you can pull that entire shoulder blade away from the spine. Slowly come back up through center. Right arm reaches ahead of you. Left arm threads, palm to the floor. And turn your head to look in the same direction, or your forehead can be planted down. Try to keep your spine nice and straight, pointing to the front of your mat so you can really just pull from the spine and that whole shoulder blade. Take 2 more big breaths in. Slowly unwind back into downward facing dog. Let's meet up. Allow the heels to sink down. Bring your hands 1 foot closer to your feet. Take your right hand, reach it to your left outer ankle, and just take a simple twist. Pull your chest towards your legs, but keep your heels sinking down. Come back through center, left hand to the outside of the right ankle. Twist your chest up towards the ceiling. Exhale, release. Bring your big toes to touch. Right leg lifts high. And then step your right foot between your hands. Drop your back knee, low lunge. We're gonna flow through our low lunges and our half splits. So inhale, lift your chest. Exhale, straighten your front leg and fold forward. Make sure you're still high up on your back hip, so you're not like sitting on the floor. That's a lot more of a transition. So we're here and just nice and easy, straight knee. And then inhale to our low lunge. Take 3 more rounds. If you want to pause at a particular pose, your body will know what it needs. Listen. It's very easy to override what we think we need. Sometimes we're like, oh yeah, we should be doing this. This should be the expectation for myself. But who's holding us to that expectation other than us sometimes? So just allow this moment to be as it is. Eliminate as many shoulds as possible. Let your body be the guide. Come back through your low lunge. Take your hands to your thigh. Tuck your back toes under for your left side. And then we're going to take our back shin, turn it up 90 degrees. So our hips are opening towards the white wall. Extended side angle, modified. So our back knee is down, our right arm is reaching, or our left arm is reaching towards the front of the room. If you want to take your hand all the way down to the floor, go for it. Let yourself sink into your front knee. Inhale, take your left hand behind your body, extend your front leg nice and straight, and reach your right arm towards the back of the room, now opening up the whole right side of the body. Your chest is still turning to the side of the mat. And slowly bring yourself back to the front of the mat. Bring both of your knees back together. Give yourself a little shake. Back and downward facing dog. Big toes to touch as the left leg reaches up. And then step it through. Low lunge, left side. Inhale, lift your chest, low lunge. Exhale, fold over, half split. Inhale, chest lifts. Exhale, chest falls. So 3 more rounds at your own pace. If that pace is a little faster, a little slower, that's your pace. That's your body being the guide. So listen. Don't override that listening. It's so easy to stop paying attention to what our body has to say, and we just start listening to the voice that's inside our head that can sometimes be awfully critical. So just really pay attention to what this moment is really trying to tell you. The next time you're in your low lunge, bring your hands to your thighs, tuck your back toes under. If that means you need to bring your foot a little closer in, go for it. And then we're going to turn our back shin 90 degrees. Our hips are opening out towards the windows or towards the right side of our mat for those of you at home. And then we sink into our left knee. And then our right arm is reaching towards the front of the mat. So turn your palm down towards the floor so you can feel that whole right side opening up. Jackie, bring your foot forward a little bit more so your knee isn't past your toes. Yes, there it is. And then reach your right arm back behind you, straighten your front leg, gate pose. Left arm now is reaching towards the back of the mat. Your front foot is trying to plant towards the ground as much as possible. And then we walk ourselves back to the front of our mat. Bring our knees back together. Give ourselves a little bit of a shake. Take your bolster, child's pose with support. So we want child's pose with the support so our whole spine can be at the same level of our hips. So if this bolster is still too low for the ground for that to happen, you can stack a couple of blankets on top. However many you need, I can bring more if you still need some extra height. And we take the bolster between our knees and drop our heads down. So if it feels okay on our neck to turn it to one side, but if that doesn't feel good, then our forehead can just plant down. And surrender. Every breath out, let go of the weight of your body. Try to tell every muscle to back off and release. And you can just do one muscle at a time. Our yoga practice gives us an opportunity to develop that bigger proprioception, kind of recognizing our body in space, being able to activate a bunch of muscles at one time does take time and practice. That building of awareness takes time. So one muscle at a time, invite it to relax. And you'll know best where those really tight muscles are that you might need to be a little bit more demanding of today. But this is an opportunity for you to take back control. You have all the power in the world to tell your body to relax and invite it to do so. But sometimes we're so disconnected, that conversation isn't had. So have that conversation with yourself. If your head is turned to one side, maybe turn it to the other direction now. Take 3 more deep breaths here. Lift your chest up. We're going to keep our bolster right here and now take frog pose. So frog pose, if you would prefer to turn sideways and use the sides of your mat, that's an option. Or what we can do is unfold these 2 blankets on both sides of our mat and use this as some cushion for our knees. But sometimes these blankets do slide out. So just be mindful of that you put yourself in a position that you can get out of. I know with frog pose, it's like asking a lot, but you know, just a little heads up. All right, so if that means we need to also adjust the bolster a little bit, move it a little further away. And if you need extra blankets so you can still keep that lift of the chest with the height of the bolster, I can bring around a couple extras. If you just lift your hand, I'll bring you an extra blanket. Any takers? All right. If your mind changes halfway through the pose, that option still stands. Okay, so our feet are gonna be reaching away from each other. So our feet are gonna stay stacked right underneath our knees, and then your hips gotta come all the way up over here. Yes, There's your body trying to get out of it. So now allow that spreading of the hips and the legs to the side. So this is kind of like the opposite of child's pose. You want to bring your feet away from each other. Yes, exactly. So it's that most challenging and annoying spot. That's where we want to hold, and then breathe in there. Just a tiny bit forward. Yes, right there. All right, I'm going to send your hips just a tiny bit backwards, actually. Yeah, like right there. So hip openers sometimes stir the pot, if you will. And sometimes hips can store a lot of energy, whether it's like emotional, mental energy, maybe physical tension in the physical tissues. So if you kind of notice like some emotions coming up to the surface in this posture, don't be concerned. That is sometimes just part of the practice. As we move the body around, other things can start moving around with it. Memories, emotions that sometimes get stored into our bodies. So for example, if you're stressed out, sometimes the body enters like a fight or flight response, which tenses up a lot of our muscles. So even just from all those moments in our lives that we've been under stress, maybe let some of that other mental and emotional stress come to the surface and release itself here. So that means sometimes I get a little emotional when I'm in a hip opener. But don't be afraid of that. Don't think that's wrong. It's just your body trying to move forward. So let it move forward in whatever way that it needs. There's no shoulds or shouldn'ts in this space. You're safe here to let anything go that you need to let go of. Take 5 more deep breaths here. Let your body be the guide. Anything that's coming up for you is completely okay. We're here to surrender and just let everything be. Whenever you're ready, take your hands, use them to walk your chest back up. And then you can bring your big toes to touch and then use that and then start using the inner thighs to squeeze yourself back together. Maybe a tabletop or any kind of counter stretch through down dog if you want to open up your hips, or any kind of twists. And then come back to all fours. Now we're going to turn our bolster horizontal, and we're going to take it behind us for a heart opener. So if anything has come to the surface for our hip openers, now we can let even more of that release from the heart space, because this is another area that can get really tight. We have to protect ourselves, and sometimes that means we have to harden our hearts or close our hearts off. So another chance to open up our heart and just allow ourselves to let go of things that we don't need to hold on to anymore. So I like to have a little bit of a pillow behind my head here. So a blanket folded or opened up once. So we're gonna take our bolster. So it's underneath our arms. So we don't want our arms on top of it because that kind of closes off the shoulders and the neck. So have yourself far back enough. So if you need to fold up this blanket because the head is falling too far back, that's where you can kind of roll it up a little higher. So right underneath the shoulder blades is where you want to feel the bolster. So that space around your heart and your solar plexus feels a nice opening. Options for the legs, you can extend your legs all the way out straight. But if this feels like a really uncomfortable pull in the lower back is happening, take your feet down towards the mat. And also maybe scoot your tailbone down so it's grounded onto the mat. A Supta Baddha Konasana is also a good option here if you want some more hip opening. So we're just gonna dive right into all the release. Another reminder that this is a safe place to release any and everything that comes up for this pose. Vulnerability is sometimes present in a heart opener because on a psychological level, from our ancient ancestral human ancestors, this exposure was a dangerous position to be in because all of our vital organs are vulnerable for attack. But we're not living in that kind of, prehistoric time that we are, looking for predators around us. Sometimes now that predator can just be our own critical consciousness, and that inner roommate that's a little rude sometimes. So sometimes we have to physically tell our bodies that we are okay here, that this is a safe place. We don't need to have all our defense mechanisms firing up and ready to go. So moving from fight or flight to rest and digest. And this is another time that sometimes in order to get to that space, some things need to come up to the surface and boil over. But you're allowed to let go of those things. You don't need to punish yourself or hold on to anything. Give yourself that permission to let go. And that could just be physically letting go into the pose as well. If you're on a more quieter day. Your body's just trying to protect itself. So don't be too critical or harsh on whatever you're experiencing in this moment. Maybe change the perspective around, and this is actually what you really need. Shimmy your shoulder blades a little bit closer together. Take a big breath into that space around your heart and take an audible sigh out. And from here, we're gonna roll onto either side that feels good. We're gonna go onto both sides. So just take a pick. Maybe roll onto your right side. So now you can open up through the left side of your body. So keep your right hand underneath you and then lift your left arm up and over your head. So notice if your arm is kind of like squishing itself by your ear, and perhaps a little bit of an adjustment of the bolster. Maybe the bolster needs to go closer down to your hips, so you're not like squishing your arm by your ear. So now we're focusing on the intercostal muscles. So those are those fibers between the rib cage. And for me, I have a lot of tension in my intercostals because I have a lot of issues with anxiety sometimes. And that anxiety, it affects my breathing a lot. And I end up being a shallow breather. So that means that my intercostal muscles are doing all the work that my diaphragm, my belly, my chest could be doing to bring in oxygen to my body. So this is a pose that you want to focus on breathing and stretching those muscles from the inside out. So every breath in fills up those rib cage fibers. And every exhale, the body surrenders and sinks in. And you don't have to know why you're feeling any type of way. Just accept this experience at face value. Don't try to dictate what this experience should be like for you. You're safe here. Five more big deep breaths on this side. Every breath is another gentle reminder to let go. And before you go on to the other side, go back onto your back, nice and centered. And the bolster on the side, that the other side, don't just roll away or roll off the bolster. And again, this little bit of a little of the bolster up and down. I sometimes like to move a little closer to my again, so we're not just like circulation or bottom off. And you can bend your knees slightly to prevent yourself from kind of feeling like you're wobbling, rolling. And on your left side, we're reaching the right arm over our head. And once again, from the inside out, add space with your breath. Just surrender to this experience. And as someone who really likes being in control of my situation and my surroundings all the time, that can be a very intense, difficult task. So if that's like not coming to you super easily today, also don't be hard on yourself. Some days will be easier than others. But at least you're getting an understanding of some spaces, some poses that you can use whenever you are feeling ready and prepared. Every day can teach you something a little different about yourself. So just whatever it has to offer, let that be. Slowly come back around through center. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Actually, roll all the way out to the side. There we go. Roll out to the side so you can come back to a seated pose. And we're going to take a double pigeon. Cross your right ankle, either past the knee or inside of the knee. And then we can take a blanket and insert it into this extra space between our knee and the floor. Flex your feet a lot. Lift your heart out of your hips and tilt forward with a straight spine. So we're working through all the like major points in the body that store a lot of stress and a lot of tension, whether from that's the physical demand of our body weight and the weight of gravity, or that's from our mental and emotional stress kind of manifesting itself in a physical way. If you ever notice yourself clenching your jaw or your forehead when you're really stressed out, that's kind of what I'm talking about. Reach the crown of your head a little straighter for 2 more breaths. Slowly release your legs and then extend both of your legs forward. And then you can keep that blanket or bolster on your legs to fold forward now and letting your head collapse. So you can fold up the blanket for the forehead for some support here. If you can't grab your toes, you can just grab your ankles, just wherever your hands land. Take 3 more big breaths here. Pull your lowest abdominals in so you can fold a little bit deeper at your hips so your lower back can catch a break. And if that feels too much on the low back, then we can reach with a straight spine like we were just doing in our double pigeon. A little bit of a hamstring focus there. Slowly come back, double pigeon, other side. So now our right shin is down and our left shin is past the knee or in front of the knee, just avoiding the ankle bone from digging into the knee. Flex your feet, insert any support. Fingertips come to the side of our hips and fold forward. Now keep your spine nice and long. So the head reaching and pulling the spine away from the hips can get nice and deep into your left glute. Relax the shoulders down your back. 3 more breaths here. And again, notice what poses may trigger the breath to start being held. When your breath gets a little choppier, just figure out where those moments are. Slowly release the legs. So you can extend them forward, shake it out. If you want to take another forward fold, take it on. Yeah, let's all just take one. Looks like that's what we're all in agreement for. Let your forehead drop a little closer to your knees. And then gently release your legs, stack your spine up. So now we're going to take a field trip to the wall. So legs up the wall pose. We want to take our bolster with us. So legs up the wall pose. Basically, you're going to take yourself onto the wall. And if you have one of these like little lamps, I would advise to like move it or move away from this lamp. You can unplug it, move it to the side. So what we're going to do, let's see. Is it easier? Maybe it'll be easier to show you guys on this wall. Okay, so I am going to place my bolster all the way up against the wall. And then I'm going to sit on the bolster against the wall. And then I'm going to literally put my butt on the wall. And from here, Our legs swing up. Whoops. Make sure you don't roll off the bolster like I just did. Yep. So just like those open chest twists, make sure there's enough of the bolster to bring yourself all the way up. So we're here. So we want to basically get our back and our butt as close as the wall as possible. So literally like sitting sideways on the wall is the best way to do so. Yes. Nice. Okay. So Daniel, you might want to keep scooching yourself a little bit closer if you can. Okay. Yeah. It feels real weird. And then that's when you know, okay. Nice. So this is my favorite bedtime inversion. So this is an opportunity for all the blood flow to come back from the legs, back to the vital organs, back to the brain, to help just circulate everything around. And this is a really nice way to slow the body down and again, encourage that rest and digest mode. And if anyone would like to have a little bit of pressure on their feet, I can come around and place a blanket on your feet. Okay, PJ, for sure. If anyone else wants, keep your hands raised and I'll, both? Okay. Do you want one for under your head? Oh, okay, nice. Okay. Just a little bit more grounding today. All right, Jackie, okay, coming around. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. Anyone else want a blanket for the legs? Okay. So everyone take a big breath in and a big sigh out. Was your hand raised just for a second, Daniel, or no? No, okay. Every breath out allows the weight of the body to sink heavy into the support of our props, the support of the ground underneath us. Send more breath to that space around your heart. Maybe also a little shimmy of the shoulder blades can help open up the chest even further. If you want to play around a little bit with this pose, you can bring your feet into like a Supta Baddha or a straddle, or you can keep your legs just hanging out right where they are. And if you have the blanket, just be careful where that will go. If you need me to come back around to remove the blanket, just quick little hand raise. I'll come back around. So I'm going to leave this pose as an option for Shavasana. If you want to stick around and just kind of stay here, be here, stay here. Or if you want to make your way back to the mat for your final resting pose, just bring your knees back into your chest and roll off to either side that's most comfortable. And you can just come to your mat, place the bolster underneath your thighs, and take rest there. And if you fall asleep, I'll wake you up after. You're safe to take a nap. We have a few more minutes to just take our deepest rest, however that is. So if you want to just have a rolled up blanket under the knees, maybe under the head, get comfy. Everyone take a big breath in and a big heavy sigh out. Just be here now. And with everything that entails. Take a few more big breaths to just surrender everything here. I was going to give you a little assist if you want. Do you want an assist for your legs? Okay. Okay. All right. Take a big sigh out. And then very carefully from wherever you are, roll onto either side. That feels good. Being mindful of the props that we have with us. And just get yourself laying straight on your side on the floor so your spine can kind of reset into a neutral position for a few moments. Bringing your knees into your chest. Bit of a fetal pose. This will help close out our class. Take everything we learned and let go of from this moment. And we can carry that off of our mat with us today if we choose to. Come up to a seat, facing the front of the room from wherever you are. Bring your hands to your heart. And give yourself a little bit of reassurance that in this moment and every moment hereafter, you are strong, you are capable, you are enough. Give yourself a little love and gratitude in this moment for showing up and working on yourselves and committing to this moment and sharing this energy and this commitment to growth and relaxation with each other. Let's bring our thumbs to our third eye and bow forward, acknowledging each other. And we can share the word namaste. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. If you have any sort of feedback for me at all, please let me know. Thank you everyone at home for joining us today. We got a lot more restorative this month. Just so you know, we got a restorative workshop next weekend with Alona and Cassie and a restorative teacher training. So if you guys have some questions about that, let me know. And those of you that come to my Wednesday night classes, I will be out this week. And Ilona and Dee will be subbing for me. So, or maybe Lori. We're figuring it out, but just an FYI. I'll be back next Saturday. I would much rather be here, but the yoga lead and the late night vibes. Yeah. That's Cassie, Alona, Lori. That's like the one class I don't teach here. Yeah. I know. Yeah. It's a really nice ambiance. You know, we have like it's like nice and dark, you know, really sets the mood. But yeah, it's tough sometimes like that late at night. All right, guys, if you have any questions for me, as always, I'm here. Let me know. And wherever you can shove all of those props, thanks. I'll make some space. See you later. Bye. Yes, see you. Okay. Okay. There was a what? Oh, wow. That's nice. That's a great way to describe it.
What it felt like. I go, this is just like a spa treatment, but I had to like just move a little bit. Oh my God, it was perfect.
Oh, good. I'm so glad. So glad to hear. Good. I'm glad. You guys out for workout number 3 now, or are you gonna finally chill? Okay, go have like a mimosa or something now. All right, guys. See you. You too. Bye, guys.